Good evening, everyone. Good evening. How are you? How has your week been? And I'm live with you again today. If you are joining me on Facebook, how are you? On Instagram, how are you? And on Facebook, how are you? Today, I'll be discussing how experienced professionals, thought leaders, founders, and academics can use their experience to attract global opportunities on LinkedIn, irrespective of their age, field, location, or years of experience. So I'm going to be addressing three major things about how you can use your experience to attract global opportunities on LinkedIn if you're an experienced professional, academic, or thought leader, irrespective of your age, your location, and your field. And why am I addressing that today? I've gotten a lot of questions around, oh, I don't think I can get global opportunities because I'm in this particular field. I don't think I can get global opportunities because I'm of this age or because I'm in a specific location. Hi, Kamara Muhammad, how are you doing? Right? So I've gotten a lot of that and a lot of that and a lot of that. And I said today I'm going to be addressing those three major objections for people. That is age, location, and field of experience. So I want this class to be as practical as possible. So what's going to happen. If you are watching me right now, and I want you to, if you are willing to drop your age, one person drops their location, another person drops their field, like what your profession is, HR, whatever, like whatever it is your profession is, right? I want you to drop, those are the three things we're going to be talking about today, because there are objections for people like age, location, and field of like your career path, like your field. I'm in the finance sector, I'm in this thing. So just quickly drop it for me if you have like I want to work with the statistics of those that are live on this thing. So you will not say, oh, she thought about it before she came and she had answers ready and things like that. I just want you to like drop your location, drop your age if you are willing to, and drop your field. So even if you can't drop anything, just drop your field. Like, oh, I'm an experienced person in academic XYZ. I'm an experienced person, professional. I'm in finance. Whatever it is you're experiencing, drop it, and I'll use you as a case study how you can use what you have to get global opportunities you want on LinkedIn. And if you have any experienced professional who is your friend that you would like to grow, you should send this link to them right now and tell them that Dr. Adering Sola, the global opportunities expert who has the biggest personal results on this side of the Atlantic, is going to be talking about global opportunities, LinkedIn, with respect to age, location, and field. Let's get right to the topic of the day. So Adetomiwa Lydia says, I'm an educator. Fantastic. So we are going to use Adetomiwa Lydia. Someone has already said HR. So official MZ Gem or something said teaching 27 years. So I'm a class teacher and the head of school. Adetomiwa Lydia. Okay, great. So teacher 27. Okay, great. I think I've seen like one person has dropped HR, someone has dropped teacher, someone has dropped head of school. Yeah. So I think his ratio 2 to 1 or thereabout. So I'll probably just pick the education sector. Right. I wish this was Zoom and I could share my screen so I could actually show you practically, but let's work with what we have, right? So the first thing you must understand is, let's start from profession. Teacher 27. So if you say, okay, officials, and you say you're a teacher and you're 27, I'm guessing. So I'm an experienced person in human resources and administrative and finance. Okay. So Michael, how many years of experience do you have? Maybe age, so that I would be able to, maybe work with two people's case studies on this slide. I have experience as a pharmacist, technician, and medical diagnostic representative. That is Okelwe Joy. Joy Okelwe. Okay, great. So we have the health, we have the HR, and we have the education space. So let me work with the first case study, which is a 27-year-old lady who is an educator, who is a teacher. Let's use that as a case study. Let me see, what's her name? So that I'm not just saying lady and all. So in her case, I don't know the number of years of experience she has. The lady who says she's a teacher, 27, how many years of experience do you have? So I can use you as my first case study for this global opportunity stuff. How many years of experience do you have? How many years of experience you have? So please, if you just drop your profession and everything, your location. So 3 things I want you to drop for me is profession, location, official Z this thing. You have 1 year of experience. So unfortunately, I won't be able to use it as a case study because on my programs, I always say I need you to have a minimum of 2 years experience to this, not because I can't still teach you about LinkedIn. So you know what? I think you actually, let me use you as a case study for people that don't have experience and my typical recommendations if they ever get to join my program, because I've seen people join my program, they will not have that years of experience, they will join, but they still get results. So here is my typical recommendation to them. So now she has 1 year of experience. Let's go to the issue of global opportunities. Now, for a teacher, the first thing you must understand is, can you get global opportunities on LinkedIn? Yes. Let's take that out of the way. Which is why I said, I wish this was where I could share my screen, I could show you. Why is that? On LinkedIn, when you go to the job section on LinkedIn, for instance, let's say, okay, maybe let me backtrack a bit. There are various categories of global opportunities. Let's start from there. There are various categories of global opportunities. One of them is a job. One of them is volunteering experience. And I'll give you a typical example. There's a lady that joined my program earlier in the year, and she sent me a message, I think it was yesterday, to say that she just got to the 3rd stage of her interview she was applying to be a volunteer in an international NGO. And it's typically very competitive. So that is another category of global opportunities. And why is she choosing to even volunteer in an international NGO? It is because I always tell people that is your fastest way. Like volunteering in an international NGO is your fastest way to actually get into the international scene. Okay, so we use the HR person as 15 years of work experience, location Lagos as a second case study. Now, 1 year, teacher, 27, I don't know our location. Now, the first thing you must understand is global opportunities are opportunities that are not limited. Emmanuel on Facebook, I've also seen you. Emmanuel said he has 27 years of experience in banking and public sector. Fantastic. So we have 3 case studies. The first lady who is a teacher, the second person is an HR professional with 15 years. I like how widely spread this particular, like 1 year, 15 years, 27 years. And I like that they actually have diverse experience. So it is a good explanation that is going to happen here. So just stick around. So for the lady that has 1 year of experience, who is a teacher, what do we refer to as global opportunities? So for her, global opportunities could be most likely what is on her mind is a job. Because someone that has 1 year of experience, she's still very, very much in that space of, oh, let me just get a well-paying job and things like that. Now, for that person, with regards to age, 27, you are at a favorable age. Why do I say so? There is this, according to the United Nations, they always say like a youth is someone between 15 and 24 years old. But in the African Charter, it is someone between 15 and 35. But here is the thing. For things like internship in the international scene, which is a category of global opportunity, right? It is, if you ever try to apply to the UN internship programs, whatever category of UN this thing, they cut that age off at 29, right? So for that lady who is a teacher who is 27, and this is the same advice I gave to my cousin who was under that age, and at the time we were trying to get into one of those opportunities. Now, if you're at that age, I said, what is to your lack of experience is a disadvantage to you when it comes to bigger opportunities that require experience. But your age is an advantage, which is what I'm saying. Please take note. What are we discussing today? Global opportunities with respect to age, location, and line of job. So we are dealing with age first for this first lady. Age, 27 years of age, it means that the category of global opportunities you should be looking at are internships, international internships. Now, if you are looking at that, or entry-level roles, but I always say international internships are great ways to quickly get into the international scene, especially if you are at an age that you are less than 29. So your age is an advantage. Number of years is a disadvantage when it comes to proper jobs. Now, in terms of profession, are there teaching jobs? Oh my, like the amount of teaching jobs that exist on LinkedIn for teachers is insane. It's just mind blowing. Why am I saying that? Especially if you are a teacher who is in the special needs sector. In fact, there is someone in my inner circle right now who is trying to get herself like like a total relocation package on the account of being a special needs educator. What do you mean by special needs? You know, there are some educators that they teach dyslexic children, they teach autistic children and things like that. So if you are an educator in that space, trust me, you will not only get opportunity, you could actually get opportunities that will spawn, like it is a visa sponsored opportunity out of your country to relocate. So if I see probably a teacher right now, maybe even an undergraduate that was starting, like I said, even if I don't like to take people that don't have experience onto my program, I have a lot of experience around it that I could use to advise them. If, for instance, I see someone that is just starting their education career, meaning that they're just studying education, I will probably advise them to specialize in special needs education, especially if you have ambition for international exposure, whether you're trying to get a job remotely from here or you are actually trying to leave your country to relocate there. Teaching is available on LinkedIn, plenty. Now, I now said the one that is now really, really, really in demand. Oh, so Chelu something said real 100%. I know someone who just relocated last month. Sure, you see, as in that's why it's not good to lie or try to start this thing. So please take note that for you, especially because you are 27, you are young, it's easy for them to get you to say, okay, so if you are teaching, and my advice to that young lady would be, please specialize. You cannot just say, the kind of teacher I see Nigerians or this thing, they just say, I'm a teacher, they'll be teaching English, math, and everything, all these private schools and everything. I would say, please, my advice to you would be, if you are going to get on an upgrading journey or a personal, please, I'm a very strong advocate for personal development. It doesn't matter the level that you are. Tomorrow, I am going for a training for my entire day. So, like I always tell people that I'm maybe intelligent, but you are only as good as the amount of knowledge you have per time. So I always say my recommendations always include the next thing you should be putting on your personal development radar for that lady that is a teacher is what program, what course, whatever can I take to ensure that I am specializing in a teaching profession that I know that it is highly in demand. Because number two, apart from special needs, the second category of global opportunities that is very, very highly in demand in the international scene are teachers in the STEM field. What is STEM? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So if you are a teacher in that field, you may actually want to start looking at the US and Canada for opportunities because they are, especially if you're a secondary school teacher, there's a gap there. So there are a lot of global opportunities in that regard if you are a trained teacher, like a very trained teacher. So that young lady, I've just explained to you the things you can do, but please trust me, you would need you will probably need because you are young, I'll probably refer you to our academy, iTrain Africa Academy, to take a foundational course. That's Workplace Foundational Skills Program. You can check out iTrain Africa or Skilled for Work. Just type it on Instagram, Skilled for Work or iTrain Africa, type it and go enroll for the workplace. It's 75% subsidized, so you don't have to worry. It's most likely a copper salary. So it's something that should be within your budget, right? So that would be my recommendation to you. Should be your personal development. Why am I saying that? That particular program at iTrain Africa is, we call it the Remote Workers Program. Why do we call it the remote workers program? So basically, we train you on all the workplace skills, soft skills in quotes, or I call it job readiness skills that allows you to compare favorably with your international counterparts. Like all the things that if you were to be teaching abroad, the kind of things they require you to know, apart from the knowledge you want to teach, like apart from whatever it is you specialized in, like, oh, they expect you to be able to use this particular tool in class. They expect you to be able to structure your student this way, to prepare, to use AI to, they expect you to be able to use certain digital tools, to have certain attributes and behavior, to have certain way of thinking. So those are the things we covered on that foundational workplace foundation. And just in case you are also listening, that course is not just for beginners. In fact, I think 70%, did I say 70, 80% of those that have taken workplace foundational course are professionals who are rusty on their job, who are looking to upgrade their skills, but are not even certain, because when you are trying to upgrade skills, it is not, you don't need an MBA. You don't need you need workplace skills. So I think 80% of people that have actually taken that program are actually professionals who are working, not just starters. So that would be my recommendation in terms of self-development for you. That's young lady. Check out iTrain Africa at iTrain Africa or Skilled for Work. Look for the workplace foundational skills program and enroll in it. The next batch is starting in August, on August 1, but the registration closes July 28th. Now, for the second person who is an HR, the second person who dropped his details, let's use his case as a case study. He said he's into HR, had 15 years of experience, and his location is Lagos. HR and human administration and finance and this thing. So here is the thing, Michael, this thing. I believe in HR, and I'm going to teach you from the experience of one of my one-on-one clients who had interviewed on LinkedIn, I think last week or last 2 weeks. You can check that replay on LinkedIn, on my LinkedIn page. And she came on, like, she's an HR practitioner. So HR is, I always tell people that HR is one of those fields that it's easy for you to migrate into the international scene. There are no barriers. There are no, unlike law, that if you go to other countries, Canada, US, or whatever, there are no barriers in HR. But HR is HR. Do you understand? Will you be required to learn some international laws if you're in the HR of an international? Yes, because but that you can get trained for on the job. But HR is HR. Do you understand? And there are also international certifications around HR, all this SPHIR and all those things that you people call it, right? So here is a practical tip that I'm going to give you. First, this particular client, I think she came to work with me in 2022 December. She's an HR generalist, although right now she's into global talent recruitment and things, as in global talent and policy one-to-one. She's no longer in the country based on what she learned then. And a couple of months later, she was able to use what she learned from me to get herself the opportunity on LinkedIn. And she's actually out of Nigeria. She's in Europe. She has to relocate with family. Now, what did we do in our strategy session? The first thing I had to ask her is, what are you trying to upgrade for? Because it is important you know the goal. You know what you are trying to achieve with your positioning or trying to get on LinkedIn to get global. I always tell people that, what are you trying to achieve? In her own case, she was trying to move up within the same organization. So as an HR person, say, I don't know where you work. For instance, in our own case, she was working in a multinational already. But you know the way it is, like a role could open up in what is a multinational? A company that has widespread across the world and things like that. So for someone that works in a multinational, in something like an HR like you, your eyes should be on what roles are opening up in the international scene within my organization. Let's say, for instance, you work with a Unilever. There's Unilever Nigeria, there's Unilever US, Unilever Canada, Unilever India, like they have, do you understand? So if whatever, Unilever UK, all those things. So you shouldn't just be looking at openings within your organization. So if you say, I'm trying to step up to the next thing, you should be looking at what are the openings in my organization. Like you are in level C manager, you're in level, do you understand? That is beyond my country. You should keep your eyes glued to those opportunities. Because what the truth is, you can get recruited from your country to fill in that particular role within your organization. So the first advice I always give as I ask, like, oh, where do you work and all that. So we know that if you can just move, you don't have to move laterally. That is, you don't have to move out of the organization. You can just move vertically and you are changing locations. So in the case of someone who is not in that kind of situation, they work in HR, but it's not like a multinational, they work in a local organization. What I would recommend is for HR, you would, if you are looking at the international scene, you would need to have your, what's that thing, that SPH something, that international one. You will need to have it in terms of certification, not because that is going to be what they will test in your interview. It's just because it is an international standard exam. It's like somebody that is in HSA, Health Safety and Environment, you need to have GIPSIN, which is an international level standard exam. It's like how IELTS, they test us for test of English in Nigeria, despite the know that we are English-speaking country. So it's just like, let me say, a general grading exam for professionals in that thing. Please do not focus on the certification. Do not be obsessed with, I must get certification, because I always tell you that based on my experience, it is not what they test at your interview. That is not what they test at your interview. It is far from. In fact, they test your soft skills more at your interview than your knowledge of the profession itself. Okay, now, so for you that is an HR person, if your target is job, ideal thing would be for you to go to LinkedIn, click on that job section. So I've told you your personal development, what your plan should be for personal development. If you don't already have that SPHR, this thing, you should keep your eyes on it. Number two, the next thing you also need to do, again, I will still recommend the Workplace Foundational Skills, this thing for you. And number three for you, I'll probably recommend the GOP program. The GOP program is a Global Opportunities Program. Why? It will teach you how to then package your experience that you currently have 15 years. I would assume you have great results. Oh, what are the things like that? And when I say results, for instance, you say you're in HR, in the organizations you've worked, what are the things you've been able to deliver to them? So when you come on the GOP, that is the Global Opportunities Program that is for experienced professionals, one of the things that will help you understand is how do you then take this experience, put it out there as into position in front of people, build a profile for it, ensure that profile has the right keywords of what people in your field, as in if someone is trying to recruit an HR that has that experience in your field, they will find you based on those keywords. We are going to incorporate it into, not when I say we, like you are going to learn, like I don't do done for you services for you, as in for LinkedIn. I don't do it. Even if you give me 10 million, I don't do done for you services. It doesn't make logical sense. If you don't know why, you could, there's a post on my page that says, if you are translating your CV into your LinkedIn this thing, you are wrong. That particular post, I explained why it is not a smart move to do done for you services for someone, because what you are building that person will just be an online CV. They still do not have an optimized LinkedIn profile if you do it for someone. So even for my done with you programs and everything, I have just like I have just like few slots per year that I take on that done with you this thing, because I really do not have this thing. So what I do is I've recorded the learnings into GOP. Then when people have taken that course, I come live 3 times in it, like in batches, in cohorts. Like the next batch now is starting July 19, right? Then I support everybody that has bought the course since March together across 6 weeks in live workshops and things like that. That is the way I've been able to structure my learning around building that kind of profile. Now, so for the 15 years experience, Lagos location is not a thing. Like I said, that my client was here in Lagos in 2022. And by 2023 mid-year, I remember her calling me from the airport, telling me that she had done the last stage of our interview. She was actually in Europe. She was calling me from Europe to say it's a success. And she moved by Q3 of that year with our family. So HR, you have amazing opportunities. And that's just one of my clients. There's another client I worked with that was based in the US last year. Also one-on-one. She's also in HR. And I remember that she had worked on her profile, or we worked on her profile like this. Let's say we worked on it on a Friday. By the following Monday, she had gotten someone reaching out to her. So there are amazing opportunities in HR. Your field is in no way a challenge because it doesn't have borders. HR doesn't have borders. Finance also doesn't have borders. When I say like it doesn't have border requirements, I say, oh, if you are moving from this location to this location, you have to learn a new. So the three things you have experience in administration, finance, or HR, they don't have borders. The question is two major things that you need to actually start getting your hands on right now is how do I build my profile on LinkedIn to reflect the years of experience I have so that I could actually put myself in front of the decision makers that would get me hired for this HR thing on the international space. And if you are looking for how to learn how to, build such a profile, optimize your LinkedIn in that format, GOP, that is my Global Opportunity Signature Program, is your best bet for it. So of course, the age is not here. So, but I would assume if you have 15 years of experience, you are definitely not less than 35. So I definitely can't be recommending you are going via the internship routes because your age is above 30. So you can't be going via the internship route, but location is not a challenge for you. Your field of study is not a challenge in international this thing. Now, I also don't know if you've been a core professional all your life, the kind of thing you could also be looking for, because now that I think about it, Abel that joined GOP in December of 2023, that's last year. By January, he had gotten that delegation to represent for a volunteer position. Please note, I said internship can be your own. You can't do internship because of your age. But can you apply for volunteering position? Yes. Abel did it in December last year when he joined GOP. By January, he got selected for this ELO Summit thing in Paris, and he went in March and came back. Again, Abel has gotten selected in June for, what's the name of that? As a delegate for Cameroon. I've forgotten that thing, but it is in Brussels. It's holding in Brussels. It's starting next week between 15th and 19th. So hopefully, I'm sure he's already preparing to get out of the country right now. So that's another category of opportunity that you can explore. And I also know someone that took my program that is currently in the third stage of, she had reached out to me yesterday to say she's in the third stage of her interview in an international NGO. So that's why do I always recommend that for professionals with at least as in with your years of experience? I always say, see, applying for that volunteer international this thing has a lot of benefits. Number one, when you are building your profile on LinkedIn and you're trying to position, you talk about that particular experience. Number two, one of the major things they ask at international interviews are always like, have you worked in a diverse group before? Have you worked in a multicultural team before? They are always trying to question your diversity. So that you can easily talk about your diverse experience, I always tell people that please get yourself in a situation where there are people from diverse background and cultures, so that should you now get to that stage and they are asking you all those questions that they would typically ask in an international interview, you have something to talk about. So they know that you're not just a local champion, okay? So I've given you 3 recommendations now. Get your SPHIR, whatever. Learn how you are going to build your profile on GOP. That one, GOP, on LinkedIn, GOP can help you. Number 3, you would also need to probably look for international volunteering positions. So feel for number 1, you could actually win one and, have that international exposure by actually being in that thing. Number 2, even if it is a local, you are working on a team with someone, you could talk about the experience to get your job. Now, the third person I'm using his own as a case study tonight is someone that has 27 years of experience. He's said 27 years in banking and public sector. So, for instance, in banking, the first thing is your own field a limitation? Yes. So, in your case, your field is a limitation. In terms of banking, why do I say that? Banking, and this is me giving you advice because I've consulted for an AGM of a bank before. So I know what I'm talking about. Why do I say in your case, banking is a challenge? See, if you're in the banking sector, I always say, what exactly are you doing there? Hmm? What exactly are you doing there? In the sense that you have a portfolio. The people that I always say they are very short-changed in the banking sector is people that they don't really have an emerging role. What is an emerging role? And I'll give you an example. And that was what saved my clients at that particular time. This client of mine had experience in corporate banking, where they were doing product innovation for external partners. What does it mean? And why am I saying this? Because I first had to get the substance of what she had out of her before we could build a LinkedIn profile. And which is why I say I don't do them for you, because you can't extract somebody's value in their absentia. And if you are wondering why I'm even talking about value, global opportunities, and LinkedIn, I can't tell you for free. The reason why I've been able to attract or win 35 plus global opportunities over the years that's taken me to 5 continents is because I showcase the value I bring to the table. I always tell people that you don't win any category of global opportunity, be it a job, a business grant, a global innovation lab, a business lab. You don't get any of those categories of global opportunity because they like you, or because you are black, tall, fair, tall, dark, male, female. You don't get any of those things because they like you. You get it because you are a true representation of the value they are looking for. Like, you bring something to the table. I don't like to say that loosely. Like, which is why I work the experienced professional, because I know that if you've worked, at least I can guarantee that you have delivered value. If you've not delivered value to your company across the years, you probably would not be in employment right now, because no employer keeps a staff who is not delivering value. Now, so my job, when I'm talking about my PPP framework, if this is the first time you're hearing, PPP means profile building, platform optimization, and positioning. So my job in that regard is to help you, or to teach you the framework, my framework, that will help you realize what that value is, help you articulate it into like a 7-step format. You'd then take that what is articulated, you go and put it in LinkedIn, and of course, optimize the different other sections. And when I say optimize, for someone in the banking sector, listing 50 skills on LinkedIn is just nonsense. It doesn't show that you're an experienced person. Now, in that banking sector, like I was saying, that my clients, she had done products for what? Corporate within the bank. So she was that person that, let's say they had, let's say you're working within the bank and Unilever is your customer. Maybe Unilever share, what's it called? Key distributor by your customer. It means that you people would have probably sat with Unilever at some point to say, let's talk about the needs of your key distributors. Do you understand? Let's talk about the needs of your key distributors. So in that case, for someone who is in such a role in the bank, instead of you calling yourself a banker, you should be looking for jobs in the finance sector on LinkedIn, or looking for opportunity in the finance sector on LinkedIn that is closely tied to product management. Because product management is an easier thing for you to find than operations. Right? It is an easier thing for you to get global opportunities in. And I'm sorry to bust you, if you're in the banking sector here and your work is just routine, like you are doing operations, customer care, like you're just doing regular, cashier kind of work, you need to start asking yourself, how can I get into a department in the banking sector that has international value? How can I get into the departments that has international value? So if you're in the banking sector, you should be looking at, okay, how can I get into probably the HR or a department that has product innovation, product management, project management, all those, like you should be looking on how you may be in the regular cashier and all those things now. Start keeping your eye on how do I move to a sector or a place that when I'm out of the banking sector, I can present that experience in an emerging role. And I've just given you an example. I had to explain to you how we had to do. So when we were writing the LinkedIn profile of my clients, we didn't write her as a banker. It doesn't have international value. We had to position as a finance, like someone in the finance sector who has done. So like let me say, a product innovator in the finance sector. Do you understand me? So the first thing you must be asking yourself, what are the job titles that are of value in the international scene? And this is just me using job as a category of global opportunity. What are those titles based on the experience I currently have that is of value in the international sector? And if you are still having challenges, if you are on GOP, if you've signed up for GOP, we talk about that, and I think it's a workshop 2, where we are doing profile building, but that is provided the person has first paid, gone through their courses before that day, because if they don't go through their courses, they won't even know the question to ask. If you've not gone to, especially the very first course, where I teach you how to figure out what your message will be on LinkedIn, then how to build the content that will go on LinkedIn, that's called profile building. That one is very deep. You need to dig deep within yourself, within your experience. Because whenever I see people go on LinkedIn and start putting content creators / bankers / data analysts and this, I'm like, what is wrong with you? Nobody's going to reach out to you with all these kind of things. It is of no international value. It doesn't have international value. So, but you would think you can pack 5 things, 6 things, / up and down. Do you understand? So we need to narrow down to what exactly amongst your multiple experience or the whatever. For instance, this public sector now, if this experience profession in the public sector may look more like it. When it comes to international, it may look more like it because public policy is one thing that you could actually build thought leadership in on LinkedIn with your 27 years of experience. So I don't know if you could tell me, this person, if you could tell me how many years in the public sector, how many years in the banking, this thing. Give me a minute, let me read more. I'm at about 55 years. So with your years of experience, you could actually build thought leadership in such a way that the kind of international experience you are, opportunities you should be looking at would now be what? Speaking engagement internationally. Like you have experience, because I remember when Professor Fumi, she's in the academic sector, right? She's a professor at University of Ibadan. When she came on GOP last year, that's in July, she was, of course, you don't become a professor at a young age in Nigeria, right? But she had the advantage of international experience. And I remember that by November, she had gotten called to come and speak at the UNEP UNDP events. Like she was the only female and one of the 2 Africans at that particular event. So what she lacked, or what was the disadvantage in age, it's compensated in years of experience and in fact, that was just one. An international recruiter from the UK reached out to her. They interviewed her the very following day. Immediately she replied the email, they interviewed her. It was her that declined and said, oh, I'm busy. I can't get on a sabbatical. Like it was that. So people are typically searching for people that have this wealth of experience in the consulting sector, right? So what you have as a disadvantage in terms of age, you should compensate in terms of years of experience, which is why we need to front load what you have acquired in terms of experience and results in that number of years. And your category of global opportunity will now be looking at things like, let me say, all those consultants in the international scene and things like that. I hope this helps. I think I've used 3 people as case study today to explain these global opportunities with respect to age, field, and years of experience. So if you have questions, please drop your questions for me. You actually have 16 years of public sector. That is your JUCA. Mr. Emmanuel Soroko, that is your JUCA. Because if you have 16 years of public sector experience, then you should be influencing public policy. And they are typically looking for people in that regard, in the global space and things that you should be building thought leadership and camping on LinkedIn. So I don't know this thing. If you have the resources for personal development, my recommendation to you would be for you to join the next batch of the GOP that is starting. It's starting next week, Friday, right? In fact, my recommendation would be for you to start as soon, like immediately. Why? For the GOP. So GOP is a 5-in-1 program. Why do we call it that? It has 5 different things that we used to do independently before. So we have 2 online courses in it. So the first online course helps you to actually understand how to build the content that will go into LinkedIn. Then the second one teaches you how to optimize the platform, then also teaches you how to create articles that will help us in positioning you in front of the people that have these opportunities in their hands. So that is so then during the live workshop. So if it's a live workshop, that means even like a bonus is support live workshop, then support WhatsApp access for 3 months on a group. So what we do in those workshops is if you, for instance, studied the knowledge that we put into the courses, by the time you come on live workshop, so each of those live workshop, we address key elements of what you will need to get to where you are going. So the first key elements that we are going to talk about is how do you build a profile? So I don't expect the person to come to class not having studied the course, because what will happen is they will get there, they will be lost. They wouldn't have done the assignment, they wouldn't have done the task they're supposed to do. And one of the tasks I recommend in the first part of the program is for you to go ask your stakeholders to take questions. When I say your stakeholders, people have different stakeholders. Some people is their wife, is their sister, is their whatever. So, but that assignment details how you need to discover what your best, like what foot you're going to put forward that can quickly help you accelerate to the global stage. So once you are done doing that exercise, I expect you to come to class with a draft of the profile. So during that class, when I say, okay, let's refine, like everybody comes on it's virtual, it's not a class, physical class. So everybody comes online and everybody opens their laptop and say, oh, this is where I am, I'm stuck here. So basically it's to refine the draft of the profile they have built. And in case you're wondering what a profile is, it's basically the content that showcases that you are the value. That is what a profile is. Like, let me say, a well-articulated, and it doesn't come easy. That is the hardest part of this course. LinkedIn optimization is a breeze. The hardest part of the program is always articulating your value in the way that if you put it out on LinkedIn, you will be sleeping. People will be reaching out to you with opportunities. And I kid you not, this is not me. Like, I will be sleeping and people are reaching out to me on LinkedIn. Because why? There's an articulation in my about section, in my header, in my like the right places are articulated and they contain the right keywords for the opportunities I want. Because the opportunities I've basically positioned for this year are partnerships for my organization, which is iTrain Africa. In the last 2 years before now, I positioned for opportunities for myself, which is how I got my job at Museum for the United Nations, Natural History Museum of London and everything. So, and in the past, I've also positioned for academic, this thing, like when I was in the academic space and everything like that. And I've also gotten opportunities in the academic space. Do you understand? So, but I always tell people that you don't position for multiple things at the same time. Nobody is going to reach out to you at the end of the day. And many people are making that mistake. If there's someone that is saying HR is finance is this thing, if he comes on my program, you will see the advice I'll give him is, okay, when he does the first exercise in the first part of the program, he would have been able to understand this is the one I need to put forward now. Then we go hard, then we can switch it up later and things like that. That is always my advice to professionals when they come on my program. Like, we need to determine what is for now, what is for the next half of the year, what is for 2 years goal, and things. We need to be very strategic. I'm very heavy on strategy. We need to be strategy about how we are going to get ourselves to be reached out to, not for us to be chasing. I cannot have years of experience and still be chasing opportunities. I have to be attracting it. So 16 years of public this thing, I can, in fact, there's an ex-presidential experience I worked with earlier this year. And I think this was the same advice I gave to him. Like like he had like similar this thing. Public sector is your best bet, trust me, not the banking. Now, can we highlight your banking experience in the mix? Yes, but public sector is your best bet as it is. There's a lot of, by the time you start writing your articles for positioning, it's going to, I already imagine the kind of things that you could put together for your articles. So far, you know how to do it. So please, if you have questions, Shelu said, hi, can you talk about civil engineering? I'm a final year civil engineering student undergrad from Kenya. I want to place myself in front of the group. Please, 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 again, please, if you are starting, go and check out iTrain Africa, Skilled for Work Academy. That is your go-to academy for starting, upskilling. So you should be considering upskilling. You cannot attract global opportunities without experience. You cannot attract global opportunities without experience. So what your own LinkedIn, this thing should be for, is for presence. Like when I say presence, like open a profile for presence. That's basically it. Not to attract global opportunities. What will you be saying you have? Like, I have results doing this and that. Like, you don't. So which is always something that when I'm recommending global opportunities attraction, it is not for someone that doesn't come with experience. Again, I say it's people that give you global opportunities is because you have a value to project. So for instance, if you are in school and you are opening a LinkedIn list, I'll tell you, just go and pick up. There's a 5,000 naira ebook I have on how to just, create your LinkedIn this thing and just, at least for presence. Why am I saying that? There's a cousin of mine that is no longer in the country right now. When he was doing his application, he had a first class in school. So when he was going to apply, then I used to teach, I still used to teach about scholarship application and things that I have the courses on our website, but I don't. Okay, I just kicked my ring lights. So let me adjust it back. Okay, what did I do? Great. Okay. So what I recommended to him then was, if you are going to apply for scholarships abroad and things like, especially when you are looking for, when I say scholarship, like he had a first class. So our plan was for him to get an all-encompassing scholarship, meaning that it's not getting from an independent body, it's getting scholarship from the university to do masters and PhD, which we got. The value per year was about $47,000 across 5 years for his master's and PhD. Now, what we did was, because I knew for sure that the PG school of that school were going to interview him. And if they're going to interview for any opportunity at all, scholarship is also a category of global opportunity. The person will want to check you out on LinkedIn, especially if you're from Africa. They want to check you out. So I always say your own LinkedIn that you are building, whatever it is you are doing, there is not to position yourself. It is to ensure that you have a decent presence. Should you now need that kind of, I want to go abroad to school, and you are looking for scholarships, so they will check you out and they will see that you are a youth that has sense, in quotes. So for that, I just always tell students, when I say, please go and pick up my 5,000 rand LinkedIn ebook. It will be somewhere or just go to itrainafrica.com. When you get to itrainafrica.com, at the base of the home page, you see all our products. There is a button at the very bottom of that itrainafrica.com page. You will see a button, all products. If you click that all products, there's a LinkedIn ebook. It's $7, 5,000 naira. That is $7. Since you're not Nigerian, just pick it and read it. That ebook can guide you on how to get started creating LinkedIn page. Like it will give you guide the first 10 things you need to do there for presence. Okay, that is what my advice would be to. But to say you want to position, you want to use, which experience will you use to position for global opportunities? Which experience you don't have? So 2 things you need to do is go to the iTrain Africa Instagram page. Look for workplace foundational skills program. You need that one. Then, when you are learning that one, the ebook, you need to pick up that ebook to then open a decent LinkedIn page that ensures that if people now start to find you, because for you, normally on my program, I don't even recommend that professionals have their like their whatever their header shouldn't be all this position and everything. But for you that you're a student, maybe you have a first class, you will see me. I will recommend that, oh, first class in chemical engineering and this, and because why? That is your most outstanding result at that particular point. And that's basically it. So that would be my advice to you, Chelo, this thing. You just need a decent profile on LinkedIn, not the one that will, like my framework, my PPP framework doesn't teach how to position without results, okay, without experience. So are there more questions? Let me see, are there more questions? Let me see if there are questions on YouTube. Are there people that have more questions before I go and start enjoying my weekend? Are there more questions? If you have questions, please ask. If not, I encourage you, if you're a professional with experience trying to attract global opportunities, I'm your best plug on the GOP. Please note, GOP is application-based. That is, Global Opportunities Program is application-based, meaning that you need to apply for it. Please take notes. GOP is application-based. I see reviewed 10 people's application yesterday, and I sent rejection email to 3 people. So it means that you need to apply for it before I give you the go-ahead to pay for it. Why is that important for us? Like we say, it's for an experience. The community, beyond the learning, the community we build with groups of professional part-time, we need to ensure that there's sanity in it. Like we try to curate a type of community for every batch. So it is important to us that we know who is coming to that community, even if they want to pay their money. And if you're asking, GOP is 268,750, right? GOP is 268,750, but you need to apply for it before we can accept you. It's after we sent you acceptance email, then you can go ahead and pay for it. How do you get the link? At the top of my page. If you're on Facebook, you can go to Aderinsola Adepoju. I know you are watching on my personal profile, but if you go to my business page, Aderinsola Adepoju, there's a link at the top of that particular profile that takes you to the LinkedIn page. On that LinkedIn page, that's LinkedIn offer page. Or you can just type the URL, www.itrainafrica.com/LinkedIn offer. LinkedIn offer. It will take you to the LinkedIn page. You can see all the details about the Global Opportunities Program. You will see the link where you can apply for it. And if you can't do all these things, you cannot type the URL of www.itrainafrica.com/LinkedIn offer. You cannot click the link at the top of my page if you're on Instagram. You cannot go to my Aderinsola Adepoju business page if you're on Facebook to take the link. Send my people a message. They will reply to you later tonight. And they will send you just say you need the GOP application link. They will send you the GOP application link and maybe even the link of the program to see what I'm talking about. Then there's a question here that says, what is the best way to write your LinkedIn bio for someone with 15 years of experience in veterinary? Like I said, your LinkedIn bio is not something that I can teach. It's a skill acquisition. It's a skill acquisition. Your LinkedIn bio, for instance, starts from your LinkedIn header. It's called a LinkedIn header. Also, your about section is also like a bio. You see, the most important section on your LinkedIn is your about section, which you call a bio, the header, which you call a bio, and the banner. The entire 5.5 hours course, profile building course, is how to write those 3 sections. The entire 5.5 hours course is skill acquisition on how to come up with that bio. Why is that? Writing your 2006 characters about section is a technical writing skill. People like technical writing is a profession. Do you understand me? Technical writing is a profession. So if it is about clarity, I can give you clarity on this. But you see, that thing is a skill. You can't teach skill. Like I have my framework for writing your bio has 7 steps. Like paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. It is after you have written the long bio, that is a 2006 character, that you go to the about section. We will now take that long bio, abridge it into the header, abridge it into the banner. So the most important thing that people are missing, that they will tell me they've optimized LinkedIn and they did not, is the fact that they did not learn the technical writing skill of the about, the header, and the banner. And those 3 places is your engine room. I always tell people, like, what am I even talking about? My clients that I'm in, that I say I work with in HR, that is based in the US, we worked on that profile building, this bio thing on Friday. We had not optimized, in quotes, like we had not put other sections up, like let me say all this school and all those things. We said, okay, the following week, because that particular time I work with our one-on-one then. We said we're going to complete all those skills and everything the following week. By Monday, before the following week, Friday, someone had reached out to her. By Wednesday, she got another person reaching out to her. Is she that was declining? Like, she was like, what? Like, she couldn't believe it. I said, you see, the moment you know how to write those bio, header, and this thing, your LinkedIn profile is about 70% done. But it's a technical writing. Well, I say, if I use 5.5 hours to teach the technical skill of writing it, trust me, it's not what you can teach here. So you asking what is the best way to write your LinkedIn bio for someone with me is not, is not a clarity question. It's a skills question. So if you don't have that skill, my advice, please join GOP. That's my best advice for you. Join the GOP program. When you join, you understand what I'm saying. Like, I've seen a lot of people say, what is it like? When you join, you're like, oh, now I understand. Now I understand, like, why it cannot be written in, which is why most LinkedIn profiles that is created for you does not work. Because it cannot be created in your absentia. It can't. It can't be, it is not CV. CV will contain your work experience, school, and everything like that. I always tell people that you think the people that created LinkedIn are stupid. They created LinkedIn and put school, as they put education, work experience, skills, and they put all those things that would normally be on your CV. After they now put all those things, they now put about, they put header. To what end? That means whatever it is that is supposed to be in those places are supposed to be different. And that is the part that is the engine room of your profile, of your entire LinkedIn this thing. You see all those education, I always tell people that people have gone to Harvard. You went to one university in this thing. Do you understand what I'm? People have gone to Harvard. People have the experience you have. People have the education you have. The differentiator is that 2006 characters about section. That header, that bio, that's the differentiator. That is the difference between me and the next person that is not getting reached out to. I can guarantee you that. That my header and my about is the difference between me and the next person that doesn't get reached out. In fact, whenever people come on my program, I say, please, if you know what is good for you, like, don't wait till the last day to pay. I say, pay for the first course, which is the profile building. Profile means bio. Pay for that one. Go and start building because it will take you time. I can guarantee you that one. Like, you can watch the course in 5.5 hours, but to build it will take you time. You would think, despite you know what to do, you will think, you will go back. Like, there's an exercise I give people. I tell them they go back 10 years to go and, like, they write about themselves across 10 years. It's that deep. But guess what? When people finally do the work, it shows. That is why somebody can do it on Friday and we are getting reach out on Monday and this thing. I've not been on that platform since forever. The difference is in the technicality, the choice of words that is inside the bio. And it is different for different people. I've worked with people from over 27, like with over 27 different job titles. It is different for different people. But it's the framework. When I say framework, it's the framework and the steps you follow the same thing, yes. But with the results, the output of the profile you build be different. It will be different for different people. So my advice, I always tell people, say, like, if you know what you lack right now is resources, I said, fine, there'll be a future path. If you know what you lack right now is time, there'll be a future. But if you think that you can boycott it and say, okay, I've seen people do it. There was a woman that joined my December cohort. She went to merry-go-round. In fact, she ended up paying someone based in all this like UK writing, whatever, for LinkedIn. She did that. She now came back 1.5 years later. Like she wasn't getting anything. When she now came back, she was like, that she just needed me to look at the thing that she had optimized her LinkedIn. I said, madam, remember our first conversation? I told you, look, the way you optimize an African profile is different from the way you optimize this thing. So don't tell me you paid someone expert in the UK to do it for you. If the expert got it right, you won't be back here asking me the same question. They didn't optimize. They translated your CV into your online this thing. How many opportunities have you gotten in the last 1 year, 6 months that you went? Nothing. She had to come back and enroll because it's a technical skill. And this is the same person now that, as in telling me that at least, that even if she has not gotten her desired this thing, that she has gotten 2 solid reach outs since she took GOP in December. So I always tell you that, please, don't, cheap is expensive. Why am I saying that? If you invest your money in saying someone should do something for you, no matter how minimal that money is, maybe you give the person 10K, 20K, 50K, whatever it is you give the person, if it doesn't get you that result, it is a waste of money, no matter how affordable you think it is initially. You just wasted because you will still end up spending to now get the right thing. So that first money is a waste. So I always tell people that, please, if you know you don't have time, it's all right. As in, people create time at different time for their personal development. Maybe your personal development schedule is for later in the year. It's fine. Do you understand? I always tell people that whenever you decide that, is this year or is second half of this year that I'm ready to build my professional bio to attract global opportunities. I hold this GOP 3 times in a year. March, July, November. When I say I hold it 3 times in a year, people buy the learning at any time. Let's be clear. Hope that is joining us next week, July. She got it since March. By May 1st, she had gotten a company from the US reaching out to her. By May 15, another company from South Africa. We have not started live workshop. I have not had any interaction with her at all, apart from, that she bought the course and she's taking it, she's self-studying and implementing. That is how detailed the course is. And it is not, in fact, it's not a course, it's a workshop that was recorded into a course. How do I mean? For me, it was important that beyond me teaching what I know from my personal experience, when I was going to create that course or that program, I recorded it in a live webinar. Like I pre-sold it, made sure people came to a live webinar, like over maybe 30 or 40 people. Why? When I was done teaching, they asked me questions. And those questions I always say, I don't think I could have thought about the angle of most of the people in that webinar because I was the teacher, they were the learners, if they were not in that live webinar. So as they asked me questions, I explained different angles more. Oh, I'm early, I'm this. So it's as a very, like if you get on GOP, if you pay for GOP, you will see what I'm saying. It was recorded as a webinar, like as a, then we broke it down into lessons on a course. So it helps that particular program to have robust perception of different people from different fields, like that were asking their questions. So there was a lot, like it was just a very deep and robust process because of the perspective of this thing. I've been wanting to say I already record that thing, but every time I watch that program, like, I'll have to gather a new set of people in a live webinar to do this if I need that kind of robust perspective again. That's how much perspective is on that program. So I hope I see some of you who are ready for this global opportunities thing on this program. Come next week, Friday, to be at this time. So by this time next week, Friday, I'll be hosting 7 to 9 p.m. I'll be doing the onboarding of professionals, academics, and founders, actually, from various parts of the world. I know we already have a Ghanaian, we have a Nigerian, of course, we have a Cameroonian, and all that on the program already. So, and that is part of why I'm very particular about reviewing the application. Like I ensure that I have that nice mix in my program. So thank you so much for staying here for the last 1 hour and learning and listening to me. Hopefully I can do this again next week, but by next week, Friday, I won't be able to come here for free. I need to attend to people on the GOP batch 7. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your evening. If you need more information, please go to itrainafrica.com. You'll see our contact number there. You'll see our everything you need. itrainafrica.com. See ya.